Damian Gardner will be on the pole in car number 20, and Ryan Flynn alongside at number 1. Bud Kading at number 4, and Jeff Gardner in 51 will be in the second row. Row number 3, Troy Klein and Tony Hunt. In the fourth row, it's Todd Ellison and Bobby McMahon. Row number 5, Dan Drynan and Casey Mears. The sixth row, Mike Abbey from Scottsdale, Arizona, and Brian Bullard. In row number 7, Rick Hendricks and Kenny Hamilton. In the eighth row, Shauna Hogue and Randy Mello. The ninth row, Curtis Brown and Chuck Gurney Jr. Row number 10, Scott Hansen and Chuck Maddox. And in the 11th row, it's Mark Ziske and Mike Boat. So Tony Hunt is in the points lead in the sprint car division with a 28-point margin over Jeff Gardner.
And this is a new ride for him this year, the first time car owners that he's running for, and they've done a very good job. They've been very consistent. They've won a couple of races, and he very badly wants to win this championship this year, and he's got a good shot at it with only 2 races left to go.
Has 2 wins at Dodge City and at Tucson. An excellent qualifier. He has 4 quick times and has only finished outside the top 10 twice in 16 outings.
Yeah, and of course his closest competitor is Jeff Gardner. Both of them qualified very well here tonight. They're going to start very close to each other. So, you know, this is going right down to the last 2 races. There's only a few points to separate them. So if Gardner can have a good night and Hunt has a miscue, he can take over the points lead here tonight.
He was the 1998 USAC Western Sprint Car champion. Ray?
Well, Bob, it's hard to believe how close the stats are on these guys. They each have 9 career wins in the Western State Midgets, and they both have 2 victories this season. But what's interesting, Tony Hunt in the 77 only finished outside the top 10 2 times in their 16 races. And you're looking at the 51 of Jeff Gardner. He finished outside the top 10 3 times, and that's why he's a little bit further behind. But tonight is a big battle in this chase for the championship, and both of these guys have been very, very fast all day long.
Back in the pit area yesterday during practice, I kiddingly said to Casey Mears, can't you make up your mind what you want to drive? But recently, I mean, this guy started out in the IRL this year. He has been in a Busch car, and now he's in a USAC Sprinter.
I think you have to drive whatever's paying you money right at the moment. and as he told us yesterday, you know, he really would like to have stayed with the open wheel cars, but the Busch cars seem to be the best opportunity for him next year, so that's what he's going to do, is go race Busch cars.
28-point margin for Tony Hunt over Gardner in the standings. Brian Bullard is third. Ryan Flynn and Troy Klein are also in the top 5. Then Damian Gardner, who's on the pole here for this race that starts in just a couple of moments. Bobby McMahon is 7th, Shauna Hogue 8th, Kevin Kiersey 9th, and Scott Hansen 10th. In the point standings. Bud Kading is a guy who competes mostly in the Midwest, but when it gets cold back there, this is the place to be.
Well, of course, he's from California, and he comes out here. He runs very well. He runs good on both pavement and dirt, and he's really been hot on the dirt here the last part of the season. He's won several races and been very, very difficult to beat on the dirt.
He has 8 career wins in the sprint cars. He started out, of course, driving in Northern California with a wing on top of the car, but in recent years has been mostly driving the non-wing sprint cars. All right, there is Gardner on the pole in that green and silver car, and Ryan Flynn alongside. Here we go for 30 laps for the USAC Western Sprint Car Division.
Yeah, now the leader is Damian Gardner, not Jeff Gardner. There's 2 different.
And they are no related.
That's right. And so the Gardner's leading, but not the one who's going for the championship right now.
That's right.
That is Gardner in that black number 51 down on the inside. He's just moved into 2nd place, so he's really helped himself. Meanwhile, Tony Hunt's running back there in about 5th or 6th spot, just trying to hang on.
That's Troy Klein in the 11th, who just slid into 3rd spot. So we have Gardner and Gardner up front. Damian and Jeff running 1st and 2nd, but a good battle for that 2nd position. That's Klein in the red and white number 11. He takes 2nd position from Jeff.
Yeah, Troy Klein is a very good pavement racer. He likes the pavement. He's been very good in this series ever since it started. There's Bud Kading. That's Hunt getting around Kading, putting around him on the outside. Looks like Kading's got a little bit of a push in that car, and it just moves up the racetrack, coming off the corner a little bit.
Hunt running in 4th spot, Kading back in 5th, and Bobby McMahon in the 26 cars running back in 6th spot. Our focus of attention, however, continues to be up front as Jeff Gardner has once again taken second from Troy. Troy's running on the bottom and Jeff up top, and they can battle among themselves because running a comfortable lead is Damian Gardner in that green and silver car.
Just amazes me. If you just get in the corner just right and the guy on the top slips just barely, you can make that pass and slide right up in front of him. Now then Troy Klein pays the favor back. Now he moves back by Jeff Gardner. Both of them had made their passes on the bottom, but as soon as they get around, they move right back to the top of the racetrack.
Troy finished 16th in this year's Winston West stock car points, had 10 starts and 4 top 10 finishes. So another very versatile driver. Tony Hunt, meanwhile, has moved up to third, and now we have the 2 drivers battling for the championship. Hunt in 77 and Jeff Gardner in 51, running third and fourth.
Hunt seems to have gotten better as the season goes on. He's been very, very tough here, especially in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and he looks like he's got that thing really hooked up here tonight, too.
Damian Gardner, who's leading, finished 5th in the 2000 Golden State Challenge Series, was 9th in NARC points in 2000. That is a wing sprint car series, and now Klein at the bottom of the racetrack takes the lead.
Goes to the bottom of the racetrack, and remember, we told you earlier, the banking on this racetrack is not banked as much at the bottom, so it's usually not as quick down there, but there's been an awful lot of passing done by running on the bottom of the racetrack.
And look at Tony Hunt. He takes second position and now sets his sight on Klein. A good 3-way battle up front here. Klein on the top. Now Diamond's off the corner, goes to the inside. At the line, he is side by side with Klein, but Troy holds him off for the moment.
Yeah, it looks like, you know, everybody, all you have to do is just get a little bit of a break when somebody makes a slight mistake, and you can get around them.
Remember, these guys have one more race left. That will be in Las Vegas. Ray, right now, Hunt is looking good.
And Bob, I asked him in the pit area earlier today, I said, are you going to take it conservative tonight? And he said, absolutely not, for 2 reasons. Number one, the way I race is to go right to the front if I can, and he's got the car to do that tonight. The other reason is it may rain in Las Vegas for the final race of the season, and if it get rained, he could not afford to lose any points to Jeff Gardner tonight in the event that that race doesn't run at Las Vegas. So he said tonight's the night. He's going to put it on the line, and it looks like he's doing just that.
Well, Tony finished second in the Western Sprint Car point standings last year, and he was the 1992 USAC Russell Pro Series champion, a rear engine open wheel division. Now again, he tries to move alongside Troy Klein. Klein gets just a little sideways, and that's enough for, at least for the moment, Tony to take the lead.
Klein's going to try the slide job right back. Didn't get enough run on him, though, and has to slide up behind him coming off of turn 2.
This time around, they will complete the halfway mark. 15 laps completed and 15 laps to go. It is Hunt followed by Klein, Kading, Jeff Gardner, and Ryan Flynn. Those are your top 5. Back with more in a moment. Welcome back to Irwindale. We're in the middle of a USAC Western Sprint Car race, and Bud Kading has just taken second position from Troy Klein, while Tony Hunt in the black 77 leads.
Yeah, he did a nice job. He moved right down to the bottom of the racetrack, got a good bite, slid right up in front of Klein. Klein, again, tries to go back down to the bottom of the racetrack and pay the favor back. Can't do it, though. He's not working on the bottom as well as he was a little earlier in the race.
Bud recently finished second at Tucson in his first Western Sprint Car start of the year, and is currently in second place here this evening. Now let's take a look at Casey Mears. He's running back in 5th spot and doing a great job. As I recall, Larry, you were co-rookie of the year at the Indianapolis 500 just a couple of years ago with another Mears, weren't you?
Yeah, it looks like this was going to be just as good as that one was, because he's, you know, for a kid that's only been in a sprint car, this is only the second time he's ever sat in a sprint car. He had second quick time the first time he ever ran, and he's been very, very competitive here tonight. So this kid obviously has a great feel for anything that he drives.
Well, we'll never forget his performance in the first ever kart race that he started last year at California Speedway. Came home 4th in that season finale and put on a very, very impressive show. Here is Tony Hunt, who is continuing to lead, and you can see the interval he has over Bud Kading. 21 laps have now been completed.
And of course, that's the way you win championships. You don't, especially at the end of the season, you can't falter. You can't kind of take it easy. You've got to go out and run as hard as you can run every lap of every race. And if you go out and win races, you're going to win championships. And as long as you look at it like that, and that's exactly the way Tony Hunt's looking at this, you win races, you're going to win championships, and that's what he tries to do every time he goes out.
If he can hang on to the lead for 7 more laps and win this event, he would become the all-time USAC Western Sprint Car feature winner with 10 checkered flags. But look at this battle here as
Jeff Gardner just got around Troy Klein, so he's moved up now. So he's in 3rd position, so he's right after him. He's not out of the hunt yet, but you can see that he's about a half a straightaway behind the first 2 guys of Tony Hunt and Bud Katie.
Casey Mears running back in 5th. It's Ryan Flynn in 6th, and Todd Ellison. Shauna Hogue is in 8th. Bobby McMahon 9th, and Rick Hendricks completes the top 10 as we now have 5 more laps to go in this one. That is Jeff Gardner now, the 2nd place in the points as we came into this event.
Well, he's certainly stepped up the pace. It looks like he's gained a little speed here near the end of the race and is really catching these guys. Now, the leader is in lap traffic. We'll see if he can handle this lap traffic. If he has any problems at all, it's going to give Gardner a chance to catch up with him as well as Katie.
That can always play a very important factor in any race, encountering slower traffic. Tony Hunt is moving through that traffic, and now we'll see if Katie can. He can dispose of that car rather easily at the bottom of the racetrack in turn number 1.
Yeah, that was his teammate Chuck Gurney that he just went around, Chuck Gurney Jr. So he has moved around all the lap traffic. Now that Gardner has those 2 cars to clear before he can get up here and try to battle with these 2 leaders.
2 laps to go. Now a lap and a half to go as Hunt is the only driver who ran last lap in the 16-second category. Ran a 16.9 last lap, now a 16.8 in that one, and Bud Katie ran a 16.9. So both of these guys are standing on the gas here in the final lap, but Katie just cannot make up the difference as Tony Hunt comes off of corner number 4 and takes the checkered flag, winning here at Irwindale in the next to last race of the year. And again, with that victory, with now 10 victories in his pocket, he becomes the all-time USAC Western Sprint Car feature winner.
Well, the Justice Brothers sponsor this car. You can see Tony very happy. And of course, Justice Brothers have been around this sport a long, long time. They sponsored another winner, and it looks like they're doing it again here tonight.
Well, he started back in 6th position and has driven to victory here this evening. We'll be back to talk with him and set the stage for the Turkey Night Grand Prix in a moment. Stay with us. Well, Tony Hunt comes off with a very important and impressive victory here tonight in the Casey Deemer Classic at Irwindale. The young man who's trying to win the championship has won the next to last race of the year. He now will take to Las Vegas a 36-point advantage. Here are the top 15 finishers in this Western Sprint race. Bud Katie finishes 2nd, followed by Jeff Gardner, then Troy Klein. Casey Mears comes home 5th. 6 through 10, Ryan Flynn, then Todd Ellison, Shauna Hogue, Rick Hendricks, and Dan Drinan. And 11th through 15th, Bobby McMahon, Mike Aubie, Curtis Brown, Damian Gardner, and Chuck Maddox. And by golly, we can even show you 16 through 20. Brian Bullard, Randy Mello, Scott Hansen, Chuck Gurney Jr., and Mark Ziske complete the top 20. Here's the Victory Lane interview with Ray.
Well, Bob, you mentioned it was his 10th career victory, but by the smile on his face, I'd say this is the biggest one of your career. Congratulations. That was a dominating performance.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. You know, we've been really strong this last half of the season, and thanks to my crew, Mike Fulps, Kerry Fazig, Bob and Lori Scott for giving me this ride. You know, we brought on a new sponsor this year with Justice Brothers, and boy, we've been strong this last part, you know, trying to get that championship. And we love Irwindale. We love coming here. It's a big, fast, racy joint, and boy, it's nice to win here. We've been really close here, but pull one off when it counts for the points, it's ever more important.
I thought you might be a little conservative about it, but you said no way, going right to the front.
I got just a good race car, beast car, and you know, we've got so much help behind this car, and just fabulous people that put this car together, and their maintenance is just great. So I just do what I got to do, and you know, I'm trying to get somewhere in this sport, and I'll tell you what, I don't know any other way to do it. This is an audition for us, and we want to be hanging out with you a little more on the weekends.
Absolutely, that'd be cool. In 1998, he was the Rookie of the Year in this division. 99, he finishes 5th in the points. Last year, 2nd. And Bob, this year it looks like he's one step closer to that first championship.
Yeah, he gained 8 points again and has a 36-point advantage now as we head for their last race.